Hello, it's Editing Becky. I'm trying to figure out how to explain what I want to explain, and it's not going very well. There's going to be two videos out today. The first video is going to be me sitting and knitting and reading a book and talking to you about the book as I'm reading it. And then part two is going to be everything else that I did. The booky bit is like 20 minutes long, so I wanted to put that in a separate video because if you're not interested in the book, that's a lot of video to kind of slog through. Part two will have some clips from part one and then the rest of my day. Probably a little bit of discussion about the book as well a bit later, but definitely not as in-depth as part one. So if you're seeing this video, then you're watching part one, and it will be about 20 minutes of me knitting and talking about the book Your Child Is Not Broken, and then part two I'll do another intro for. That's just going to be more of a general daily vlog. So hopefully that makes sense. Please enjoy the videos, whichever ones you choose to watch, and I will hand back over to Becky of the past. Good morning. It's day 23 of July vlogs. I'm just editing yesterday's vlog. Both of the children are out and I honestly don't really know what to do with myself. I think I would like to pick one of my shorter audiobooks that's on my TBR for the reading challenge and try and get that read today. So I've got my non-fiction book, Your Child Is Not Broken by Heidi Mavir, and it's only 3 hours and 5 minutes. So I think I can probably listen to that today and do some knitting and a bit of crochet maybe. Yeah, that's kind of going to be my plan. So I'm going to edit the blog and then I'll probably check in with like a starting point, and then we'll see how much work I can get done on a sock and on my crocheted blanket thing that I'm making and on this book, and you can sort of get some live updates about the book. So that might be quite fun. Okay, it is 5 to 11. I've finished editing and uploading the vlog, done a bit of other stuff that I needed to do, and now I can sit down and start my day of crafting. So I've got 23 rounds, I need 75 rounds to make it the same as the first sock, and so let's see how many rounds I can get done. I'm going to listen to my audiobook and hopefully can get like an hour or so, probably like an hour and a half of listening and knitting before I want to eat something. So we'll see how much we can get done in an hour and a half. So I'll check in again then, tell you what I'm thinking of the book. I need to get a notebook actually, so I can write some notes if anything is interesting. And I'll see how much sock knitting I get done in an hour. So here we go. Hang on. Oh, hang on.
You are listening to Your Child Is Not Broken.
It's been an hour of knitting and listening, or thereabouts. I have knit about 30 rounds on my sock, which is nice. So in theory another hour and a half or so of knitting, and I should have this sock finished, which is perfect. And I'm about an hour into the book, and I'm really, really enjoying it. It's very like anecdotal, which is great. I like that. I've written a few little notes of a few things that sort of have jumped out at me, more just for me rather than for sort of sharing. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the book. I think it's really hitting nails on heads. I think it's really well written. It's very honest. Yeah, and it's not sort of trying to sort of like tell you, because it's anecdotal, she's not saying like this is what you should do or this is how things are going to work for you and your family if you realise that your child is ND. It's not like that at all. It's very much kind of like the opposite, and being like, she says, one of my favourite things that she said was, and I think this is a quote from somebody else, but when you meet one neurodivergent person, you've met one neurodivergent person. And I thought that was like, yeah, so true. And it feels like a really it feels a really honest book. It feels really like, I would recommend it to a lot. So far I would recommend it to anybody who wants to understand more about having a neurodivergent child, but also if you are just interested in knowing more about what parents of neurodivergent children experience, or what one parent of a neurodivergent child has experienced. Yeah, it's very, the first little bit of the book felt very much like experiences that I had as a young undiagnosed autistic person, and so that was quite affirming in some ways to hear that, and also a little bit sort of hard to hear as well at the same time. And I definitely see some parallels between what Heidi and her family experienced, and what we were starting to experience with Aidan at school. So really glad that I've picked this book up. Definitely going to be finishing it today, and then spending some time reflecting on it. Might see if I can find a physical copy of the book as well, so that I can do some highlighting and noting, and also so that Andrew can read it, because I think that he will enjoy it as well. Enjoy it feels like the wrong word. I am enjoying it. She's a very good writer, and Heidi is reading it herself, so that's quite nice. It's very sweary, which is fine with me, but yeah, so it just feels like raw and honest and real, and that's not what I was expecting. I was maybe expecting something more like scientific and like official sounding, but it is a parent's experience and the knowledge that she's gained from research and time spent with other parents and in this community. So yeah, highly recommend it. I'll leave a link and everything down below, but very much recommend it. I'm going to go and have some lunch now, and then I'm going to come right back here and listen to some more of the book, knit some more of my sock. Yeah, I think I'd like to my next session of sitting here, I'd like to finish this off if I can. I put some washing on, so I feel like I have done something useful. But yeah, I want to finish this book. I don't want to disconnect from it for too long, because I feel like if I do, it might lose some of its, I don't know what the word is, impact. But yeah, it's a short book, so it's definitely a listen in one sitting book. Hello, it is 2:05, so I've been knitting and listening for about an hour, and I'm about to start like the final section of this book. I wonder if it's got like, it's got quite a lot of like, not references, but kind of some other little, maybe they're like essays from other parents and things like that. So this is like the final chapter of her bit of the book. Is a great book. Yeah, would highly recommend it. There's definitely trigger warnings in here for discussions of like mental health, suicide, or suicidal thoughts, sexual assault, alcohol abuse. So definitely bear that in mind. They're not like in-depthly mentioned, but they are mentioned, so that's definitely worth bearing in mind. But it's a really fantastic book. I've already recommended it to a friend of mine who I think will benefit from it. It's a great kind of you're not alone kind of book. Like if this is something that affects you and your family, then it is a great book for just being reminded that there are other people out there who are going through the same thing. And yeah, and it's like it's intelligent and it's well thought out and it's funny, and yeah, it's like having a conversation with a friend. I have a friend and she has a neurodivergent child, and she knows so much. She's done so much research, and when we talk, it's very honest and very raw and very emotional and very passionate, and this book is like having a conversation with that friend. Like we have moments of, when I'm talking to my friend, like we have moments where we're just talking about being parents, and then we have moments where we have, you know, knowledge of something where we're sharing that knowledge. So the thing that I am aware of, that I've done a bit of research about for the courses that I've done, is the polyvagal theory. and Heidi talks about that really well in this book. And so it was things like that, like, yeah, one chapter is just about how they came to realise that her son was neurodivergent, and then the next is like really well researched, really well thought out, really well explained, like theory. So it's a really nice mix of those kind of things. Yeah, it's like sitting down with a friend. So really recommend it still. And I'm nearly finished with the sock foot. I've got 2 more rounds of the pattern to do, and then I'm doing the toe. It looks really long though. Like I've counted my rows of my first sock, and yet it seems like this is, oh, that's not the right bit. It seems like this is longer, but I don't know how that would be possible. Let's see. I'm going to get stuck in for the final hour of this book. I should be finished with this sock in an hour, and then probably going to do a couple little bits of housework and then pull out a different project. I might do a bit of journaling if I fancy that. I kind of fancy something, because I've been sitting here listening to this book and knitting on this. Kind of don't want to just sit here. Again, I want to do something else. Maybe I'll bake a cake or something, because we haven't got any cake at the moment. So that might be my next creative thing. But we'll see. So just to wrap up that review of that book a little bit, because I didn't really do that in the video yesterday. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was emotional, it was informative, it was a really, really fantastic book. It's funny. I think I said this in the video, it is like having a conversation with a friend, a really honest conversation with a friend. I genuinely believe that one of the most valuable things as a parent is having like a couple of friends that you can be really honest with about the good and the bad. You really need to be able to talk to people when you're struggling with things, and this book really feels like you're part of that kind of conversation. She's sharing some really like personal and like tricky things to kind of share and admit, and yeah, it's really wonderful. It's also, without sort of being patronising or preachy, she's also giving you some insight into some areas that you may come up like with difficulties when you're interacting with professionals and like schools and other people. So it's really useful from that point of view, that you can sort of keep your eye open for these little sort of moments that might come up for you as a parent of a neurodivergent child. So yeah, absolutely 100% recommend it. 5 out of 5 stars. Would recommend it to anybody, whether you are the parent of an ND child, whether you have friends who are parents of ND children, or whether you just want to have the knowledge of what some parents go through with their ND children. Like, yeah, it's a really great book for being a supportive person, and also for being a parent of an ND child. I've also found it really interesting from the point of view of somebody who was late diagnosed, to sort of, you know, it sort of validated some of the things that I experienced when I was younger. And yeah, it was a hard listen, but in the best of ways, if that makes sense. So yeah, and it's only a 3-hour audiobook. It's a small book, so it's not like it's really going to take a huge chunk of time to take it in. Yeah, I think it was really, really valuable. So very much recommend. and I'll link a copy of the book in the description box down below. Is the end of part 1 of this video. I will leave a link down below to part 2 of the video if you would like to go on and watch what I did for the rest of the day, but this video is just the review of the book and a little bit of me knitting, so that's all done now, and then part 2 is the rest of my day. So hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching my review. Let me know down below if this is a book that sounds interesting to you. I think you can probably guess from the video that I really enjoyed it and would really recommend anybody read it. So yeah, let me know if I've tempted you to check this one out, and I will see you in part 2. Bye!